Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the UnLearnT podcast. I am your host, Ruth Abigail, aka RA.
What's up, friends? It's your girl Jaquita. Sorry for the delay. Okay. Ooh, we about to have us a time
It's
today.
about to be a time. This is the podcast that is going to help you gain the courage to change your mind so that you can experience more freedom
Listen.
today.
Okay. Yes. On today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're in the summer series
We are.
because it's summertime. Summertime. Remember how Ruth Abigail didn't know that song? And I bet she still didn't go listen to it, and she still don't know it because she's wiggity whack.
I have listened to it. I don't know it like you know it, but I've heard it. So stop playing me here
When
in
I
public.
tell you the levels of which I don't understand how that song missed your entire childhood, I don't get it.
It's okay. There's a lot of things we don't understand. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of
Yeah.
things we're not going to understand. We'll
Mm.
understand it better by and by, as the old folks say.
Anywho, while Ruth
Yes.
Abigail tries to navigate her lack of exposure, listen, guys, all right. In this big old world of AI and all the technologies and all the new things that are coming out,
Oh boy.
when we were discussing which movies we should talk about, right? We needed one that touched on this futuristic element, right, that we were all gonna have to face one day. And we could have did the Matrix.
We
But
could
all
have
right, everybody does the
could
Matrix.
have done the Matrix. We could have done well, we could have done several
Take your time.
movies.
Take your time.
I'm not going to take that much time.
Yeah. She just like she don't know. Sometimes she don't know these movies.
Okay.
But the one that came to mind for us was I, Robot. Okay,
I, Robot.
came out in 2004. Okay,
Yep.
Willie from Philly, all right, was out here in these streets. This was Will Smith was hot. Okay, he was top of his game when iRobot came out. I think this, because I'm pretty sure we had just did Fresh Prince had just gone off the air. I think Independence Day, like some of his blockbusters, Men in Black, yeah, like, and then iRobot came out, and we were all like, "Ooh, the future." The future. It's the future.
That was what's crazy is, so it's set in 2035 is when the movie is set, and it's really crazy because we're in 2026. That's only 9 years from now.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is when you look at the movie, I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen that soon, but the robot nature and the nature of the robot and like what, kind of what that looks like. I mean, we getting there. Like,
yeah,
it's coming. It's
coming. I think the interesting thing about this idea of robots and us using robots as helpers, like these robots are here to serve us. They are our new workforce that we can use, to do the tasks that we as a society no longer want to do, or no longer want to outsource to each other. I think it's an interesting kind of dichotomy when you think about where society is going, like even how we use AI now. Like, we could do these things. A lot of the things we ask AI to do are not things that we're not capable of. It's just things that we're like, I'm gonna outsource it. I'll be asking chat to do. I saw recently there's like this new trend of people asking chat to like write their breakup messages.
Oh wow.
Like, hey, like, I don't even care about this relationship no more. Let me see if chat could say something sincere and heartwarming, so I can break up with this person. But there's a lot of research being done also, because I just read this article that talks about how like more than like 60-70% of the time chat will agree with you.
Yes.
So like if you like ask AI something and you're like, hey, should I do this? Is this a good idea? Even if it's a terrible idea, right? Like AI will be like, yeah, you should. And this is why what you're doing is right.
You really have to, it is trained to please you and to affirm you.
Mm.
Like that is actually the point, and that's why like a lot of the that's where a lot of people are cautioning a lot of people. Um, that's why you have to fact check stuff. You have to go back and see it because it really is you train the AI to agree with you, um,
Mm.
and so you have to actively tell it to not. So like,
Mm.
and there's my light, folks. Excuse the darkness. It went out, but it's okay.
Okay.
Um, so you have to really you really have to train. Yeah. So the way I do it sometimes is I will say, "Don't flatter me. Like I don't want you to tell me what I want to hear. I want you to give me your objective truth. If
Yeah.
you don't do that, then it's just going to feed you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because like even in the movie, in the movie you have these three laws, and all the laws are around the well-being of humans, to
Mm-hmm.
where like the robots can't contradict human authority, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
and human life. And so while I do agree with it, like I think that we have to we have to create we can't create something we can't consciously create something that could potentially destroy humanity. I think that's um I I think that's a anti I don't even know how to say this, anti-godly in a way. I think that that's
Mm.
wrong. But I think also on the other extreme, you can't create AI to tell you your truth. And that is the
Oh.
that is the danger of, I think, one of the dangers of what we are seeing going on now with the use of AI is it is trained to tell you your truth and to just feed you a loop of your own information.
Wow.
That's what
But
it's trying to
that's
do.
so interesting because even if you look at how we're using it now, like people are like, use this prompt and get AI to tell you, what your biggest weakness is, or,
Yeah, yeah,
what is the most beautiful thing about me. Like everybody use this prompt and everybody's going to AI at the same time, right? And typing in these prompts and getting AI to like give them this level of affirmation or this, and they're like, "Oh, AI knows me," right? It's reinforcing this idea that like AI knows me better than I know myself,
yeah,
because I
boy.
had to ask AI. I had to ask this system, right? This artificial intelligence, who I am.
Yeah,
I had to ask it to give me identity, right? We're asking it like build me, a popular thing right now is everybody's like, build me out like a little profile that tells all of my strengths and like my little everything that I offer in a workplace, and like what does that look like? And we are getting away. I think what we're missing is that, and I think this is also where main character in the movie, Detective Spooner, Will Smith, Willie from Philly, get jiggy with it, right? I think this is also where he was like, felt like he was one of a billion
mm-hmm.
who saw like,
Yeah,
y'all, this is
yeah,
this is taking away the soul
yes,
of who we are. Like we're losing it. And I think when we realize that we are moving from using this as a tool, right, that helps us with work or that helps us to do tasks, or like we're leaving the task oriented nature of AI and moving more into this identity,
yep,
affirmation, soul seeking, purpose seeking
mm,
place. We're seeking something from it. We're asking something from it that wasn't its original intent. I will say this, it wasn't our original intent, but it seems like it was its original intent, right?
right,
Like that it has come to replace something, an internal processing
yeah,
that you're supposed to do. It's come to take that and to do it for you. Where now we used to, like you used to say, I got to go find my purpose or find my identity. It's like you ain't even got to find it. I'll give it to you.
So this is so I like what you're saying, what you're saying, like even in the movie, right? The detective Spooner, he is like the one person that's like everybody's blind. Y'all aren't seeing
Mhm.
this. You don't realize what's going on. Robots are as only as good as we can control them.
Yeah.
And he had a moment which we found out much later in the movie as to why he was so bothered by them, that he was like, robots are so cold and calculated. They don't have a soul. They don't have a heart. They can't see past their own logic. So it's like
Mm.
we can't. There was a part where he was in a car crash, and it had to choose to save him or a child, and he wanted the robot to save the child because
Yeah.
he was like, it's a kid, save the kid. Well, it calculated that he would have a higher chance of survival, so it let the child die. So that that scarred him and made him really hate that we were leaning so much into robots to make these really critical life decisions
Mhm.
for us. To your
Yeah.
point, like this, I think we have a there is a pathway that if we're not careful today, we can easily pivot down that path. And what I find so interesting is that humans create robots.
Mhm.
The truth is, the only way you can create something is create it in your own image. There's nothing else you can't
My
do.
Lord.
So
That's Bible.
what's actually happened is we have not replaced God with robots. We've replaced God with ourselves.
Whoa. Okay, Rue. My Lord.
Because we have decided that we can create something better than God created something
Wow.
and have it replace what God intended for us to do.
Wow.
And I think, and so, to your point, there's a fine line between using a robot for a task versus trying to find your identity. So
Yeah.
now it's almost as if we have played God, but realize that what we've created has some things that we can't access. So we go to the created thing as opposed to who created us.
Wow.
And
No, that's really good.
like
Oh,
we're
we.
that's where we're headed, I think, if we're
Yeah.
not careful. And so I think that's something honestly, and I find myself unlearning it. It's like, be careful what you find yourself using AI for. Like
Yeah.
like maybe not asking it about you. Why are you asking AI more about you than you're asking God about you?
My Lord.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I have honestly found myself, I've had to really wrestle with that because, quite frankly, AI gives you quicker answers and answers you like.
Yeah. Yeah. And tells you things that fit the plan that you wanted to do anyway.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
AI, like we said, AI is trained to tell you yes.
Man, will tell
Whereas a
you,
lot of
boy,
times the Lord will
woo-wee,
either say nothing or he will tell you no.
no, or wait.
Oh, wait. Oh my God. That wait. Jesus.
AI has no weight in it.
There's
It's
no
it's
wait.
so quick. It's no wait. It's like, oh, I can get you right now, immediately, faster than a
Yeah.
microwave. I don't need to wait. You don't need to wait on this. And it's making us desensitized to actually trusting the creator, not us, and
And
not what
not
we
just the
created.
creator, but it's making us less trustful of each other. Right?
Absolutely.
Like you can be in the middle of a conversation and you can say something and somebody be like, that ain't right. And then they go straight to AI
Yep, yep,
and they're like,
yep,
do. Cause see, I told you, like,
yep.
and they give you a whole rundown. I was looking at something on social media, and you know how people be fighting in the comments or whatever. And this one guy was like, I did the research. You need to do the research. And the other person replied back, I did do the research, and literally had a screenshot of her chat
Correct. Right.
GPT
Right. Right.
question she asked. And I was like, so this is research
This is
now.
research.
Like, and we take it, but it's like we kind of been trained from this for this, right? Because we went from encyclopedias, right? And like research looking like, all right, I gotta go find the B section because I need to look up something on, Brooklyn. So I need to find the B section, and then I need to read about Brooklyn. Then I need to go find the N section and read about New York. Then find the U section, and read about United States of America,
Yep.
right? Like, and we went from all of this like manual labor where we were invested in the process to Wikipedia.
Yep. That's right.
And I remember when there was a time when you could not use Wikipedia as a source.
No.
Like your teacher would be like, "You use the what?
No.
Wikipedia? Google? You no, absolutely not. Where are your books? Where are your journals and your articles? Okay, where are your tangible sources?
Yep.
You mean Wikipedia that's edited by the public?
Correct. Yes.
Absolutely
No
not. Like,
guarantee of
we,
expertise. No,
yeah.
like you can't verify this stuff. No.
Listen, but we did not care. We took this
No.
as truth.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Even like if you on Facebook and they say like a celebrity has died, I'm going straight. I'm like, Wikipedia ain't updated it yet, so I don't know if that's true. Okay. It ain't true till
Yeah.
Wikipedia update that bio.
That's crazy.
Okay. Or IMDb update that bio. Okay. Like y'all out here spreading falsehoods because it ain't being reported on the Google yet. Like we have been slowly for at least the last 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, been training, like we as a society have been training ourselves to trust whatever comes across our screen.
Yes.
Whatever you see on the screen, we've been conditioned to believe that that's true,
Yeah.
which is why there's so much manipulation that can happen in social media,
Mm-hmm.
right? And anytime there's so much, people call it fake news, right? But like there's so many different news sources that some of them are satire, some of them are just wrong,
Yeah.
some of them are opinions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like journalism in itself is something so separate from a lot of what we see being
Mm-hmm.
reported,
Absolutely.
right? And so again, when you look at iRobot, right, you see Will Smith, who our Detective Spooner, who is this highly suspicious, just I don't trust any. He calls the robots canners.
Yeah.
Get out of my face, canner. Right, like they're, and they call them can openers,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's so rude.
Yeah.
I really like, who made this decision
A little bit.
that we was gonna use these derogatory terms in this movie, okay? But like, I just really like he's walking because it is hard being in an organization, in a group, or in any situation where you feel like everyone else is sinking and you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to like warn, like he wasn't cocky about it. He was just like, I'm trying to warn y'all that this is not okay.
Yeah.
And everybody is like, a robot would never hurt a person. A robot would never commit a crime. A robot, and I'm more concerned about their being they were so convinced of the never
Yeah. Yeah.
than I am that he was so preoccupied by the possibility.
I agree. And I would venture to say that it's easier to not be convinced because it's too convenient. It's too convenient to let it go. And I think that mirrors where we are today. Like
Yeah.
it's too convenient to let it go. Like, there are people like in Memphis right now. Um um Elon Musk's company, he does Grok, the um one of the AI things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called Grok, and he has a plant here. And so they build they basically it's where they train Grok. Like he's built this whole plant here in Memphis where you train Grok, and there's been a lot of pushback around that because of the neighborhoods that he chose to build the plants in. is close to, black neighborhood that's been disinvested in, and people are, well,
Of
of
course it
course,
is.
right? And so one of the things that has come to light as to the sacrifice that's being imposed on people is around environmental stuff. Your water being your water supply going down, therefore your bill goes up. Electricity sucks a lot of power, right?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
also pollution in that particular area. Like, it's so there's all these different negative things, and people, there have been, I will say, there have been there's a loud pushback, but not from the majority of the city, right? The majority of the city celebrates it because it brings capital to the city. It brings their company, XAI, is pouring millions of dollars into Memphis, in a sense, to, on some level, to try to not make up for, but this, to be good partners, business partners for
Mm,
the city, or things like that. And so there's this kind of a give and take there. But I think that it's it is the few who are not being heard, because they see something that the many don't see, because of the convenience of what's being built.
yeah.
And it's hard to let go of convenience when you've been introduced to it. And I think that's
Yeah.
the reality of most of us. Like, when things are easier, when I feel like, oh, things they're novel, they're new, they make different things, like they make things smoother for you, it can be hard to let that go. And so, just seeing it in real time and noticing the way that the many are reacting to what the few are saying,
My Lord.
is really interesting. And it does remind me of the way this plays out in the movie. Like, like, he is the guy that is saying, hey, we need to pay attention, this is not good, something's
Mm-hmm.
wrong, something's happening. And I don't he's not he doesn't trust robots. He's not on a mission to get rid of all robots. He is on a mission to make sure people understand the consequence of releasing full control to these
Yeah.
robots. And I think it's the same here. AI is not bad, and I don't think AI is bad. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
But releasing full control and releasing your own autonomy and releasing your sense of connection to God,
Yeah.
and letting and either intentionally or unintentionally letting AI replace that is where I think we can really fall off the rails.
Yeah. Even in and I think that it is isolating, right? And it's been so interesting watching how we've walked through different seasons.
Hmm.
And because, like, there was COVID, right? When we were quarantined. I missed them quarantine days. I ain't gonna lie to you. I took them from granted when I was in it. I was like, man, I can't see nobody, man. I'm in the house all by myself all day. And now I'm like,
Yeah, I'm
child.
tired of these people. Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, why don't we all just go to our houses for 3 months? Why don't we all just you know
Don't call me, I'll call you.
Exactly, exactly. Why don't we all take a break
Yeah.
from the world? And we saved so much money, because I wasn't spending nothing. I was
No,
cooking.
no.
All right. I did a little vegan journey during that time. But anywho, but like, even like in the beginning of the movie, it starts off, first of all, we're seeing his, disheveled home, and he's a detective. He worked for the sheriff's office, work for the police force, sir,
Yes.
you could do better than this. You over here eating the sweet potato pie out the pan with a spoon, you know what I'm saying? Just right in the middle of the pie.
Uh-huh.
That's weird, and unkempt, But anyway, like, you see him going out, and immediately, like, you see his dislike,
Yeah.
his trying to think of a stronger word than dislike. That's not hatred.
Disdain.
Disdain for these, robots, these canners, right? And he sees one running with a purse.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
he
yeah,
is literally the
yeah.
only one
Yep.
who is like, hey, what's this robot doing running with a purse? Everybody else is like, the robot must be doing something good
Yeah.
because, right? And so when he finally gets to the robot, because he chasing this robot for his life, but it's a robot, it's meant to run at, unhuman speeds. Like you
Hmm.
cannot run as fast as this robot. But, he finally catches up to the robot, and turns out the robot had the asthma inhaler for the lady who, was struggling to breathe. Right. And it's like, I'm sitting there and I'm watching the people that are around her, and it's like they had abdicated the responsibility of
Mm,
caring for her to the robot.
mm,
It's like, oh, okay, I don't really have to do anything for her because the robot is taking care of it.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to rush her to the hospital. We don't have
Yeah.
to call the ambulance
Good
with the
point.
EMTs. We don't have to, see if there's a pharmacist or a doctor nearby. Like, hey, guys, is there a medical professional? No, 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 no. The robot's got it. Right. And so I think even in our daily lives, moments where we could, ask real professionals or
Hmm.
consult people who are really, you know what I'm saying? And I do this for real now. I ain't going to the doctor for everything.
No.
I'm gonna go on Google.
Yeah.
Google gonna tell me
Yeah.
what it is and what it ain't.
Yeah.
And if
That's
I should
yep.
really be concerned,
Yep.
okay, Google or, my best friend Joy, who's a pharmacist, right? Like, but mostly I'm Googling it. Okay, like, hey, what's this? I got this little scar on my chin. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm Googling it, right? But we as a society are distrusting people. We're
Yeah, we are.
distrusting professions. We are distrusting expertise, right? Like, but we are so trusting of whatever comes across our screens,
Yes.
right? And I think we are, you know, along with this whole identity piece where we're losing connection to our creator, right? Because we've become creators. And I think that's such an interesting dichotomy that when you step in the seat of being being the person that's able to manufacture something, you distance yourself from your own process,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's just like Tower of Babel, right? Like the higher they got, the more they was like, hey, I really believe in us.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's it becomes it becomes a very slippery slope. Um I you know, I think that first of all, there's a note that we need to say that producer Joyce said. We are not condoning using Google for medical advice. That is not what we are doing. At Jaquita, we're not doing that. Okay. We don't do that.
I ain't saying for medical advice, I'm saying for your own research.
No, and we don't condone
Okay?
using Google for medical research. We know, no, no, that is not something we gonna sit here and
Yeah, don't
advocate for.
diagnose yourself, people.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Don't diagnose yourself.
Don't do that. You call a
You
real
know.
professional, a human being. Don't use chat. Don't use Claude. Don't do all that. You use a human person. Anyway, all right, that was a little plug. So I listened to I listen, I listen to different podcasts, and there's a leadership podcast I listen to, and it's kind of focuses on church leadership and like kind of faith leaders, and so it comes from that angle. But but he kind of has been doing a lot of having a lot of conversations around AI and the church and AI and faith, and how what is happening to our generations and what it's doing and where it's going. And I it's really interesting, and it might feel like we're going off the rails here a little bit, but I don't think so.
That's all right.
When my I don't know what you think, Quita, but like I think, whenever we have these types of moments, it's almost like there's there's a setup happening.
Mm.
And I do believe that we are headed down a road towards a setup for God to be reintroduced as God.
Absolutely.
I really do.
Absolutely.
I feel like we're headed down a road in society where we collectively, most people are going to abdicate their trust to technology in a way we've
Mm,
never done before, and
my
in
lord.
that we will lose a sense of security. We're going to
Yeah.
lose a sense of identity. We're going to lose a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
and I think that's going to make people question and say, all right, well, what am I here for really? If this technology and these humanoid robots and all these things that'll come in the next, 20, 30, 40 years, what am I here for then?
Yeah.
Why am I even here? And I think even um, to the point of the movie, when Spooner, he's trying to remain relevant as a cop, even to say like my who I am as a human is not irrelevant. We still need humans to do certain things.
Yeah.
We can't just let these machines just take over. um and so there's a character we haven't talked about, Sonny, right? Sonny is this
Sunny.
he's the robot that was created to help to stop the robot takeover, if you will,
Yeah.
right? And we start to see in the movie Sonny has a heart, if you will. Like he's
Mm,
got that missing piece that the other robots don't have. He
yeah.
doesn't fully understand it, but he understands that he has a purpose. And he
Yeah.
understands his purpose is to help almost put robots it keep robots in its place to where uh they're not overusing their logic to take over what humans are supposed to do. He's kind of a bridge.
He's to manage the evolution of the
Yes,
robot.
right.
Yes.
And I think, like, so it's I think that's an interesting dynamic. And when I it's the purpose factor that we are going to be faced with here very, very soon. It's already happening. People are losing their jobs. Most
Mm,
people's purpose is lives within their work. I don't necessarily advocate for that, but that's the way we think about it. And so when you
mhm.
begin to lose your work or lose your career options to other things, you're like, okay, what's my purpose now? What am I supposed to be doing with my time, with my energy, with my talents? And the the way that we are going to suffer, I think, as humans through that, it's going to force us to depend on a bridge back to where we actually belong.
Yeah.
And we have we've got where that it's gonna I think it's gonna pull us closer to God and to each other, because we'll have this desperation that ultimately we realize AI is not gonna be able to fix. And
Yeah.
I don't know that it'll feel like it's coming close, but it won't fix it. Um and that's going to be a rude awakening, I think, for a lot of people, but it will open the door for a new beginning, I think, for society. Now that's just
No,
my I don't know what you think.
I definitely think so. And I definitely think that what we learned or what we saw in the movie was it was almost like people's understanding coming. Like
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
another character, the psychologist Susan Calvin, okay, and she is just all belief that the robots,
Oh
because she was
gosh.
part of creating their temperament,
Mm,
right, and making them seem more human, right, like that was her role, right, and so like she's like, I know the programming, right, I was with Dr. Lanning, who's like the head chief doctor who designed the robots, excuse me, created these three laws, right? That kind of govern the ways that the robots interact and build connection with humans, right? And she's like, no, I was there at their inception. I
mm-hmm,
know everything that went into their processing and how they function. And I'm the one who, added the sauce. All right. And I understand the inner workings. And so I truly believe that a robot would never be anti anything that we created them to be. Right. And that's so funny. What what a very conceited place to be.
Mm,
To think that like the things that we created will never go past our intention. Right?
man, that's
When
good.
even the creator
That's
himself,
it. That's it.
right, had to like his realization was these humans are going to go off the rails.
That's correct. Well, he
you
knew it when he
know?
did it. He knew it.
Yeah.
That's
Like
right.
he created us, he knew when he gave us the breath of God and that we had creative power, that we had authority in the earth. When he gave us himself,
Mm-hmm.
when he made us like him, right? When he said, "Let's create them in our image." He knew that he was creating beings that could choose a path he didn't intend for them.
That's correct. That's right. That's right.
And we live in that tension of are we going have we created a plan outside of the creator's intention for us? And I think his journey is probably to me the most interesting out of everyone's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you see the psychologist, Susan, you see her coming into this realization that, like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was. Maybe I don't have as much control
Yep.
as I thought I did, right? And then you even see Spooner's character saying, "Hey, the Sonny ain't so bad, and I
Yeah.
need him.
Yeah.
He's part of the revolution."
Yeah.
Right? He is a masterful piece of the plan, right? And at the end, they shake hands, they give each other a little wink.
Yeah.
They're friends. Like
Yeah.
he becomes friends with the AI because he's had to learn balance. But I think Sonny, the evolution of Sonny throughout the movie, where he asks, who am I?
Mm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
what am I? Like, and he's like asking, like, I don't want to be a what, I want to be a who,
Mm.
right? Like, I was created with more inside of me.
Why am I
I was,
here? Like,
why am I here?
yeah.
Right? Like, I have the three laws. I have the same makeup as everybody else, but I have something else operating on the inside of me that's pushing me toward a purpose that I haven't realized yet. Right. And I think that his journey really parallels the journey that a lot of us face.
Yeah.
That like we're like, okay, I get, just like the basic understanding of who I am. I
Mm.
don't understand the application.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm smart. Like for me growing up, I always knew I was smart. I always knew because they were putting me in the little gifted and talented program. I used to love going out to that little trailer. They'd be like, all right, it's time for the gifted and talented students. And we ain't go nowhere special. It's a little trailer out back.
Sure.
All
Sure.
right.
Sure.
And we went in there and we did math problems. It
Mm-hmm.
was fun, because we thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Right. But I never knew what the application of that was. And there he goes through this process of discovery where it's not AI or technology for the sake of technology. It's I am playing a role in the evolution of human history and in the
Mm.
evolution of my kind, right?
Mm.
Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he has a role to play. And I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
and at the end, where he realizes, because he had the dream, right? And in the dream, there's a character standing on a mountain, looking at mountains of robots, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Sonny, that's you." He's like, "No, that's Spooner."
Yeah.
And at the end, he realizes, "No, it was me."
That's me.
Like, yeah, like what I saw that I thought somebody else was supposed to do, it was for me.
Mm.
And so I think his evolution was really interesting to watch, but it took all of them coming to a balanced place
No, that's good.
in order to overcome Vicky. All right. Big old Vic. All right. Because Vic wasn't playing. Okay.
Nope.
She was like the main hardware system that was powering all of the robots.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And she was like, you know what? I got a new plan.
Yeah.
Right. I got a new thing I think we need to have going on out here. And it's called Robots Run This. Okay. It's called Robots Do What We Wanna Do.
Uh-huh.
Okay. She had a brand new system at play. And I think it's interesting that Sunny as a technology uh was created to combat technology. That technology was created to combat the technology. And that's where we find ourselves, right? Because when what you created gets you in a bind, you create something else.
Yes, that's right. And there's you create a solution. And the okay, I'm not trying to get all like extra and spiritual in here, but it's really
Go ahead.
interesting. You know, I don't know. You if I'm stretching this, let me know. But I do think, as we're talking, Sunny can be a type of like a of Christ in a way. What I mean by that
All right,
is
y'all. Thank y'all for coming to
no,
the
no, no, no,
UnLearned
no, 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 no.
podcast.
Listen, listen. Listen,
Mm-mm.
listen, 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 listen.
Absolutely not.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
Absolutely
Listen to what I'm saying. Like,
not.
hold on. Just listen. Just let me hold
No.
on. Let me work it out.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to.
Let me work it out. I'm not making a direct comparison. Let me be very clear on that. I'm not making a direct comparison. What I'm saying is what we're talking about is this idea of, you have the creator, Dr. Lanning, and there is a there he knows that Vicky has gone off the rails. He knows that Vicky is now in a predicament where she is going after more control than she's designed to have. So he's got
Mm.
to create something. He's got to create a robot, a robot, somebody who looks like robots,
And
who
his name is Sunny.
understands, and his name is Sunny, right? And he looks like robots, feels understands robots, but also knows I'm different. And he also knows that his purpose is to be a bridge back to the way it's supposed to be.
I really hate that you have come to this conclusion. I mean,
Yes.
I really, really hate because you know what we always say where I'm from is that Hollywood steal everything from the Bible.
I mean,
Okay, all these ideas come from the Bible. Okay, they some thieves and some robbers. But I hate that I can see what you're saying. I really, really hate it.
you're welcome. You're
But
welcome.
it makes me want to side eye the whole movie all over again.
Wait,
Okay,
why?
side eyeing the whole movie because now I think it had some nefarious intentions. Um,
Wait, why?
I don't know. I don't like there being a savior of the robots.
Well, I think you're right. I do think like the Bible is it's it's about the existence and the relationship God and his creation. I mean, that's what it is, and how God needs to who's out, God wants to bring his creation back to him, and needed um a human, a perfect human, to do that. That like God had to do. And so I'm just saying, I at its broadest, in its broadest story form, I agree with you. A lot of movies are that, because that's the reality of the world. And so what we do is we put our spin on it, and usually make humans the hero, not God the hero. And that's usually
Mm.
where the issue is. And when you see that, it's like humans are the ones who are elevated to the top, when God really should be the one elevated to the top. But it's the same storyline. Like, it's the same storyline. So I see that as a storyline. And if you look at it like that, you can kind of see, okay, we really have to get ourselves in order. We got to put things back in their place. And yeah, so anyway, don't hate on the movie.
Hating on the movie now.
Don't hate
But
on the movie.
anywho, but I really going back to this idea of really uh like us seeking things we create over seeking the creator, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I do think that there is this, even throughout the movie, like Will Smith's character Spooner is always like, I'm going manual, right? Like I'm a drive this car, like, because I don't want technology driving my car. It was so funny when the psychologist came to his house and she was trying to turn the music on and she was like,
Oh yeah,
play,
yeah, yeah,
play.
yeah.
And she was trying to talk to it and he
Yeah,
was like, nah, girl,
yeah,
analog.
yeah.
Okay,
Touch it.
like,
Yep, yep,
yeah,
yep.
yeah, no, like this, we don't do robots in this house. Um, I think I think we are getting to a point, like you said, where I've been saying for a while that we're on the brink of revival, where there's this sense of we all have to come back, not just to the knowledge of God, but when you come into the knowledge of God, you come into the realization of, who am I that thou art mindful of me?
Mm-hmm.
You come into the realization of, what being God's child really is, what being God's creation really is. And I think that in a lot of ways, we've taken we have taken control over so many things. And I think that we're all starting to see the results of that. We're all like, yeah, this is not working out.
It's not working. It's not working.
This ain't working out.
Yeah.
Even when you look at some of the ideas around how we think and feel about each other, all the isms,
Mm-hmm.
the genderism, the racism, the sexism, all of the classisms, the way we have divided ourselves, and created these ranking systems amongst each other, right? Like, I think that there has to be revolution in that. And that's not going to come from us continuing to have the power to rely on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, one, and there's also this humanism argument that's like, well, we can depend on each other
Yeah,
and
yeah,
get
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Right? But I think God is going to make it abundantly clear that society, we as a people, we as believers, we don't move forward without him.
This, I mean, it's just true.
You cannot call yourself a progressive society that does not have a dependency, a reliance, and a relationship
Mm-hmm.
with God, with the creator. And I definitely think that we are in the midst of that right now.
I agree. I
Like,
really do.
we are at the great turning point. When I was in divinity school, like, I used to love how, like, all these eras throughout history had a name.
Mm.
Like you had the Reconstruction era, the Jim Crow era, it was there. You had the Great Awakenings, right? Like, and I used to really love that somebody went back and named the season that we're in.
Mm.
And I always wonder, when
Oh, it's
people look
interesting.
back a
Yeah.
100 years from now, what
Yeah.
will they name the season
Yeah.
that we're in?
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
because, with the technology piece, with the political piece, with the social unrest piece, with the everything happening in the faith world, in the education world, in the financial world, there was the Great Depression, or there was, like, there's all these different time periods
Mm.
that have names, and they weren't that long ago,
No.
right? And so, like, we, in this, modernistic time, I think they now say we're not in modernism anymore. We're in postmodern times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what they call it now. Like, I'm wondering, like, when we look back on what we've been through as a society, right? Because there's your own individual life and what you're
Mm-hmm.
facing in your own world, but then there's, like, this broader general, like, societal tension,
Yeah.
right? And what are we
Yeah.
gonna name this? What are we gonna call this season? And I really started thinking about that during COVID. Like, because you had the first great awakening, then you had the second great awakening. I said, are we gonna have a third?
Well,
You had World War I, World War II. We're praying to the great Jehovah that we don't see ourselves in
yeah,
three. Right. But what is gonna be the theme of the season that we're in? And I think it's gonna be up to the I hate using this term, so I'm gonna find another term. The changing the changing component
okay. What's
is
the
what I'm
word you
gonna say.
didn't want to say?
I was gonna say turning point.
Okay.
Just saying, right? I ain't trying to get caught up. You understand? But the pivot, like our pivot point,
Oh boy. Okay. Okay.
but it's gonna be determined by the spooners. It's going to be determined by the people who didn't get caught up in what everybody else thought was right, who
Yeah.
didn't get caught up by what everyone else believed right was right, but who stayed true to some internal founding principles and beliefs, right? Who stayed connected to a sense of what is God doing in the season and not just what I see everybody else doing. Right? It's the new season will be determined by the discerners. It will be
Yeah.
determined by the people who have an ear to hear, who are able to see and pick out where God is speaking versus all the other voices in
Hmm.
the atmosphere. And
Hmm.
because he maintained that throughout the entire movie, right? Like he never backed down from this belief, even when he was the only one experiencing the negative consequences.
Yeah.
He was the only one actually seeing the truth and nobody believed him.
Hmm.
Like you have to ask yourself, am I willing to be the only person that believes?
That's real. No, no, no.
If I step into a space, am I willing, and not just to be, because here's another sector that we have in society right now. We have people who believe but are silent. We
Yeah.
have people who know the right thing and have discerned what is happening, but who say nothing,
Hmm.
who influence no one. They hold it to themselves,
Hmm.
right? If we're going to, we have the ability right now. We have the opportunity,
Hmm.
right, to name the season.
Hmm.
We have the opportunity to decide what this next turn, what this next pivot is going to look like for our society. And that's not going to happen from the people who choose to focus on only on themselves.
Yeah.
It's going to happen by the people who are willing to have societal kingdom impact.
I think you're right. I think the as you were talking, I think it's also really interesting. I like how you talked about this naming things. Like I would be curious as to how close to the activity what did the names come,
Mhm.
because I don't know that. I don't know, the Great Depression, was that named, in the middle of it, a couple years after, or like, decades later. I don't know. Um, I'd be curious. There is a part of me that
Hey
could.
Siri, when was
I
the
know.
I'm sorry, girl. I'm sorry, girl.
Hilarious. That's actually hilarious. And there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's funny. So I just, because I think, yes, the discerners and sometimes the distant observers. So like will name the thing based on what the outcome is. And in the
Mhm.
middle of it, you don't know what the outcome is. And so there's no predicting that. So those of us who are living this day to day, we don't actually know. We could name it for what it is now, but we don't know 100 years from now what the outcome will be. And a lot of times, I think it takes people who are observing from a distance to be able to put an actual name and definition to something that the people who are living in it couldn't see because they're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And we might never know what that becomes to the future people that are going to be seeing it
Mhm.
and that'll study it. um I think, I don't know, I think that's a really interesting, it's something interesting to think about, like
Mm.
how how will people see this, what will people pull out of it that is going to make it, so like even the Jim Crow era, right? For certain people, that era does not hold as much weight as it does for us, right? When we talk about that, but that's not the only thing that was happening then, right? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's like there's so but we pull it out because for us, when I say us, I mean black people in America, that was a weighty time for our people. But
Yeah.
for other people who weren't experiencing that, that's not how they observe that era. So they may not call it that, or they may not identify with that name. And so
Mm.
I think it's just I don't know, it's just be interesting. Anyway, what people will see this as, who names it, you know, who's impacted by that name, and how much that will actually inform the future decisions. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it'd be really interesting. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, that this when we picked this movie, really didn't know. We don't. I mean, we knew it's like AI. We feel like we should have a conversation around this. It's very relevant. Y'all, to be honest, we didn't really know where we were going too much with it, because it's one of those movies that's like it's more entertaining. It's a very entertaining movie. It's an action movie, but when you really look at it, there's some depth to it that I don't think
Yeah.
we even really fully realized till we started talking.
Yeah.
So
We
th-
surprised ourselves.
thanks for making it this far, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for making it this far.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, yeah, this was good. So we are gonna see y'all next week. We're done. Look, we want you to uh like, share, and subscribe, comment. We want you to be a part of this community. If this had any value to you at all, share it with somebody else. Don't keep it to yourself. And until then, what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep unlearning together. Okay. So that we can experience more freedom. See y'all later.
Peace, y'all.